very beginning when we were just Real Talk Live. We did a program with her that went over very well. We're going to run that back sometime coming up to honor her, and we just want you to keep the family in prayer and to understand that they're gonna need us right now. They're gonna need our support, and let's give it to them unconditionally. Again, welcome everybody. This is People to People with Rodney Grimes. This is the podcast for the people. You know my saying, people to people, power to power, positive thinking people. Now, I got a guest in here today, and I'm gonna tell you something before I even really get into introducing her, because when I jump in and introduce this lady, it's gonna be nothing but some good conversation, some information. She a love coach, and I'm gonna tell you she got some information to share with us, and that's gonna be something so magnificent. But I got something else I gotta show you. Yo, look at this. Look what I'm wearing. How about this? Let me tell you something how good God is. Okay, I had no idea that I was going to be receiving any honors for the things that I've been doing in the community. And let me pull this out here. And first of all, I'm going to show you this right here is a Lifetime Achievement Award that has Zena Michelle Grimes on there, right? And guess what? Let me sit that down. Y'all bear with me, cause we also have one that says Rodney Alex Grimes, and this is a Lifetime Achievement Award which we received yesterday, which was just phenomenal. I had no idea that we was up for this, and I'm going to have AT. Can you read the letter that came along with this, please?
All right. Good evening, people to people, family, and friends. So from the White House, we have the American story depends not on only one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us. I congratulate you on taking it upon yourself to contribute the good public goods and proud to present you with the President's Lifetime Achievement Awards in recognition of your 5,000 hours of service to this great nation. Throughout our country history, the American story has strengthened by those who combine the optimism about what we can do with resilience to return the vision into reality. I know I'm not alone in recognizing that those who are willing to step up and volunteer in the service of community and country are essential to the ongoing work of forming on our perfect union. By sharing your time and passion, we are helping to discover and deliver solutions to those challenges we face every day. Solutions that we need every day more than ever. We are living in a moment that calls for hope, light, and love. Hope for our futures, light to see on our way forward, and love for one another. Through your service, you are providing all three. On the behalf of the American people, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you for volunteering leadership, and I encourage you to continue to answer the call to serve. The country is counting on you.
Man, I'm telling you, come on. Y'all can clap inside. I ain't mad at you. You know, I ain't mad at you. First of all, I just want to tell Dr. Teensy Lynch, thank you so much for recognizing the work that we are doing for the community. We don't do it to say, hey, look at me, look at me. We do it because we care. And so it's so important that we continue to do that. In order for the community to get better, you got to pay attention to the community. You got to be active in the community. You got to put the right people in office in the community. You got to put yourself where you can say what is happening, because you got to understand this. From the police, from the mayor, from the sheriff, from the from all the people that's holding these offices, they work for you. They work for you. And when we collectively come together in our community, we make a difference. You know, if you let a drug dealer move in your block and he consistently sell drugs and you don't tell nobody, guess what? Eventually your grandkids, your kids, and maybe even you may be using them because you got them there where you're allowing that to happen. But when you stand up for your community, it's almost like if somebody throw a paper down in front of your house. If you don't pick that paper up, what happens? Somebody else throw their paper down there, and next thing you know, you got a lot of trash in front of your yard. But if you go out there and pick it up every day, and when you see him throw it down there, you say, "Excuse me, but please don't do that. Please take that with you." What happens? You have a clean front yard. So that's what we have to do in our communities. I just want to say thank you again to everybody that's been
Everybody
really.
saying congratulations.
Huh?
They saying congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey, let me tell you something. God is good, and there's so many people out there that deserve this. This is not about me. This is not about you. This is about us. I'm telling you. And I know when we do it collectively, God is just going to continuously bless us. I've been thinking about a lot of things, and I'm getting ready to bring my guests in a few minutes, but I want to get this off my chest. With Lynn was so active. Lynn Nelson, she was so active in the community doing the things to help people. Everybody was looking. Every time you turned around, Lynn was making connections, and she was making good connections, and she was helping people to build their businesses. And I'm talking about authors, people who are writing their books. I don't care if they were selling Christmas pies. Lynn would make sure that everybody knew about it, and she'll call different people on the phone and say, "Yo, Rodney, this person is doing this. You need to have them on your program, or you need to call them." That's community. That's dealing with your community. That's being a part of it. That's what Lynn Nelson was about, and a lot of us need to follow that trail that she set out, in her life. Well, let us mimic what she was doing. You can't recreate the wheel, but you can make it roll smoother if you come with a little technique. That was Lynn. You don't have to recreate what she did. You just do your part, and it becomes a part of everybody's life. We talked about those things. Without further ado, what I want to do is I want to bring in my guest, Miss Cristy. Right? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes,
Cristy?
you are.
Okay, how you doing today?
I'm well. How are you today?
Hey, what's your full name? Come on, talk to me. Don't
My
get shy
full
on me.
name?
I want the full name because I didn't want to mess it up, so you're gonna have to say it. So, Cristy
So it's Cristy McMillian.
Okay.
It's still known as Cristy Horton, but I am working on going to the Social Security office. We know COVID has messed some things up, but it's signed by a judge, and I'm ready to be my Cristy McMillian, my maiden name.
Okay. All right.
Back to that.
All right. So, where you from, if you don't mind me asking?
Fairfax, Virginia, born and raised.
Oh, okay. So you did this is you used to the woods and the jungles around here.
Yes.
So meaning the streets and the neighborhoods.
Yes.
Okay. And so why don't you just take the time and tell us a little bit of something about yourself?
Well, I started a company called McMillian Soul Source. I don't know how I became a life coach and how I started the business. I just continued to listen to God, and He just took me one step at a time to where I needed to be and where I felt comfortable. So when I got to become a life coach, then it was finding your niche. And everybody was like, "Well, what's your niche? What are you going to do?" And I wasn't sure what to do. And the school I was going to was called High Impact Coaching, my second school. They were like, "You should be a relationship coach, a love coach." I said, "A love coach? I want to be a divorce coach because I've been divorced 3 times and I know about that." But then the more I thought about it, I know a lot about love. Starting with myself and starting with the love with God. That was my first love as a baby from little. And then falling back in love with me and what that looks like in the different levels. And then having a relationship with myself, and then healing from relationships with other people and having forgiveness and opening that space so I can receive love. And from there, I was like, oh, a relationship coach. That's what God wanted me to do.
I love that. So just from your experiences and the things that you had in your life, so you're not talking about something that you just had to read on. You talk about something that you experienced,
I experienced.
which is a good thing.
Yes, and I did not know my whole life I've been preparing for this moment to be a relationship coach. Because my whole life I've been trying to heal myself. I know I would go through trauma, and I was always wondering, how do I fix that? Because I was uncomfortable. I wanted to do better and be better.
So you said you've been divorced 3 times.
Yes.
So now, so we got something in common because I've been married 3 times. So the only thing is I've been divorced twice, but I'm still in the marriage and it's working, and it's all about understanding and knowing about love and learning to love yourself.
Yes.
Before I even go any further, I'm again I'm so excited about me getting my
Yes,
my
congratulations.
yes, this is something really means a lot to me, and I just wanted to again to say thank you to Dr. Tincy Lynch, who came all the way out from Atlanta to do this presentation. And reason why I'm saying is because she's about love, and she talks about that and talk about the community and us supporting each other. So I just wanted to throw another shout out to her and just say thank you so much. Miss Christie,
Yes.
so do you come from a large family?
Not really. I have an older brother that I was raised with and a younger brother. And I have an older sister that I always prayed for, and now she's in my life since I was about 8. So that's just it.
So
We have 2 girls, 2 boys.
what's really driving you to get to this point where you want to get out and you want to help people find love? What is it that's driving you? Is this something that's inside of you, or is this something that you see people need?
I see that God is love, and I feel like love makes the world go round. Without love, it's just like not breathing. That's what it feels like to me.
I feel you. Almost like suffocating a little bit when you don't have that. Where a lot of people don't understand the agape love. Agape love is the
That's
love
what
that
I'm
God
talking
gives
about.
you, that unconditional love, and that's something that we have to learn in relationships how to do that and be where we can give love to one another. It's many people out there who've been in and out of relationships, and if they had a commitment, they would probably say they've been divorced 9 times
Uh-huh.
because they're not understanding love and how to do that. So, what are some of the steps that you do when you're coaching?
So I let the person just tell me where they are. So I first evaluate where they are. I find out their story, and then we work on healing that hurt. But I don't tell them that at first. I let them come in because they want to find a relationship. But then we find out, oh, let's heal this part of your heart. Let's work on forgiveness. Let's work on relationships with finances. Let's work on relationships with other people. Let's work on communication with love. How you communicate with others. Um, there's a lot on forgiveness.
Hmm.
That's a big space on that, because in order to receive love and be into a new relationship, you get to empty out. I call it empty your suitcase. So you get to work out anger, like triggers and things that alter your emotions, and work on forgiveness to soften your heart. And it just opens the gateway. It's amazing once you have that forgiveness done and cleaned out, and that conversation opened with other people in the universe. That love just pours in from all directions that you never thought. It just comes to you.
And it's such a good thing when I hear you mention forgiveness. When you learn to forgive, not everybody, nobody is perfect, and we all make mistakes. What it's all about is just understanding and letting that be the past be the past. Here myself, I'm one that's practicing that more so than anything, because I don't want to be judging anybody to have them have to judge me. What I want to do is I just want to be a blessing,
Right.
to many people. And it's a lot of people make mistakes. That's what, even like when you drive in a car and you hit somebody. What is it called?
An accident.
It's an accident. An accident is not something really that's done intentionally. It happened, it just happened to happen, and people have a tendency to look and they get mad. So we make mistakes in life. We have accidents in the relationships.
That's right. And I never looked at it that way. But do you know how many people have bumped my car? Like literally have hit my car and I forgave them and be like, you know what, go ahead, I'm okay. You're okay. Let's just let it go.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's not that serious. We can take a little bump in the road and turn it into a mountain
Right.
unnecessarily.
Right.
And can be and a lot of people lost their life over little bumps. So it's important that we understand what? Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. And I want to hit on that agape love.
Go ahead.
So what helped me also to get over my last divorce, this last divorce took me years to get over. Years of just crying and trying to work things out. I never had closure. I didn't know why the spouse at the time wanted a divorce. And I got to the point where I was like, it's that agape love. That was love, first of all, for that person to ask for a divorce. That was love for himself, not to be like, stuck in a cage somewhere he was unhappy. And then I realized it was love for me because by him being unhappy and intense, I was intense. My child was intense. The whole house was just so heavy. That's love when you just get out of something. He wasn't happy. And he has the right to change his mind. Who am I to force something? Everybody has the right to change their mind just because I didn't want that.
Yeah.
That's his right.
So when you talk about that and the people having the right, one of the things people got to understand is just because you make the commitment to be married doesn't mean that you own that person.
You don't.
You don't.
That's the love. That's the love of you're two individuals in a commitment, but you're also two individuals. I made a vow to God to stay married, but that's on the other person if they want to do something else. That's
Exactly.
That's not for me to put on my plate.
Yeah. That is so powerful. My mind is like all over the place because I had the opportunity to be at the Harvest Assembly. I hope church on Forsum Road. I hope I pronounced that right. And the pastor there, an amazing man. Him and his wife doing some amazing things. He's really that's a community church up there. And I saw that love that they had in there. And when you're around people like that or seeing that and experiencing that, you understand the love and relationship.
Right.
So love is a agape love. That love from God is unconditional. You know what really gets me with a lot of people, we want to mess up, but we don't want somebody else to mess up.
Right.
We want them to forgive us, but we don't want to forgive them. We want to be loved, but we don't want to give the love.
Right.
And we got to learn how to just put ourselves in a position where, it's not all about you.
Right.
You look at the other person. So you have some courses and things that you put people through?
I do have courses. So it is a 8-week course. I didn't know we were going to go over this, so I'm not.
That's okay.
But so it starts off with we talk about what do you want, and at the end of the program we're going to talk about the things that you want. But first it starts off with I get to know who you are, and I need to know your triggers, I need to know your passion, I need to know your hurts, I need to know everything, because we're going to work on that. So then we work on your finances, and then we work on your skills. When I say your skills, I mean like, do you need another job? You're going through a divorce. Do you need additional income? Do you need to switch schools? Some people have their kids in private school. So we go over your finances. We go over like recreating your lifestyle. It's not just one thing you're going through, it's more. We go over your emotions because it's so many layers. So each week we work on something, and it's geared towards what you need. So when you tell me I need this, this, and this, you may tell me I need another job, I need to move my kids, I need to move my kids into another apartment, I need to change schools. We do all of that, plus we work on your finances, and plus then we work on what do you want. We need to know, what do you want? We got to get to the bottom of that, because that's where you're going to be happy. And then once you know what you want, it's open for love.
How about that? That's so important that a person realize what is it that you want first for yourself, and then what is it that you want out of the relationship. And when you understand that, you don't put those large expectations on these people or individuals and saying, okay, well, I'm mad at you because you can't provide this. If you be right in the beginning, talk about these things, then you'll know what you're working for. A lot of people don't have that communication skills. But it's all about all of us. It's all about all of us. What we have to do is we have to put ourselves in a position where we know if you want to be happy, you got to be happy within yourself first. You got to be happy within yourself, and you got to understand what it is that you want. And when you do that, and you do that with, we say, the agape love, you know, as we made in God's image, and we try to be like God and love like God, then we can forgive people when they do something wrong. I heard you say that your ex-husband had the right
Yes.
to want to be out of it.
Yes.
He had that right.
It's his choice.
It's his choice. That is amazing. I like that because sometimes we want to be mad at people. I'm gonna tell you something that I learned. And so with my first two wives, I've had children, right? And many times I've heard some negative things said. And one of the things that I won't do, I'm not going to call them the B word and talk nasty about them, because once I loved them, I still love them. I ain't in love with them no more, but I still love them. I don't want nothing wrong to happen. And I realized that for me, it's important that I don't talk bad about them, because really I'm talking bad about myself.
Exactly.
Because at one time I laid with that person. One time I ate with that person. And sometimes I prayed with that person. Right? So what was it at that time that's different from now? The only difference is that you possibly realize, you know what? You're really not the cup of tea I really wanted to drink.
Right.
And you move on.
You move on. And things happen. Like, for me in my marriage, I realized I want to be more independent. When my husband met me, I was broken. When I started to get my confidence and figure out who I am, you know, he got a little uncomfortable. And just knowing who you are and just knowing what you want is important. And it's important for me, I feel, that you give your mate that chance, because as we grow in age, we do change.
Yeah.
And the communication is important. You got to communicate, hey, you know, now I like this. Now I really want to try this. What do you think if I do this? He was always like, no. I was like, well, you know, I felt God, like, the more I did ministry, I felt God, like, working in my hands with the healing. He gave me that gift of healing. I wanted to do massage therapy and Reiki. He tells me I'm good at it. Why can't I go to school? Good luck with that, was his response. It's important that we encourage our mates if they want to change and do things. And we keep that. It goes on both sides. You can't say, well, my mate needs to, you know, grow with me and let me do things. They need to know what's going on in your head. They don't know. They don't know if, you know, if you start to change, they're going to think maybe you have somebody on the side. You got to let them know, like, this is my passion, or God spoke to me, or, you know, I really wanted to try this, or ever since I was little and I thought I couldn't do it, now I want to do it. I want to go to college. That communication is so important for your mate to know what's going on, so you can have that support. And they really may want to know at the angle you're working at, like, what's the root? It's more than just saying, hey, I want to do this. Why? Oh, he didn't know you always wanted to do that. He didn't know you used to do ballet when you were 7. Or he didn't know, or she didn't know that, you know, you used to do X, Y, and Z, or follow your dad and do these things.
Right.
Because you never talked about it.
Yeah. It's all about communication. It's all about letting your partner know what it is, what you feel. My son, one of my sons, shout out to Mike Monte, Savage Guards, my boys. One of my sons told me one day, he said, well, but actually both of them on a couple of occasions says about their stepmom, they said, Dad, make sure you're not putting too much on Zena, you know, for your project, because she may not be really interested. She might be just doing it because she just loves you and she's trying to be a part of it, right? And so what I found myself doing, I had to go to her and ask her, say, hey, babe, I need to know, do you really want to do this? Is this something you really want to be a part of? Because my passion may not be hers.
Right.
And she has the right to do whatever she wants to do.
Right.
So a lot of people out there, let me tell you, we got the, if you're just joining in, this is People to People with Rodney Grimes, and my guest is Miss Cristy. I'm pronouncing that correctly,
You
right?
are.
Cristy McMillian.
Yes.
And let me tell you something, she's a love coach. And the reason why she says she a love coach, because she done dealt with it on all sides,
All
and she
levels.
already know. And it's not so much that you looking to say you the professor of happiness and pain, but you're a person who cares enough to be able to come out and then help somebody to work through their troubles.
Yes. And that is very important to me. So if you would ever go to my Facebook page, and the more you'll see me on People to People, I'm very raw and open. I'm an open book. If you guys have questions, you can post them there. I'm going to answer any questions you have about my life or what I think, because if I'm not making an impact, if I'm not encouraging you, if I'm not supporting you, I'm not doing my job. God told me to spread his love all over the earth. That's selfless. I talk about everything. Nothing is off the table.
Right. And that's what's really good, and I like it that you consider yourself a coach, because we need them. It's not enough of us out here that's giving from the heart.
Yeah.
Yo, bam. That's why I got this. You understand? Because you know what? I give it from my heart. I'm proud of my medal. Yes, I'm proud of my achievement. I'm proud that Dr. Tansy decided to bless me and my wife and a few other Dana Carter, congratulations, and the pastor and his wife at the church, and it was another pastor, and I know she going, probably if she's watching, she's gonna say, "Oh, Rodney, you ain't just forget my name." But sometimes when you all over
Yeah,
the place,
you're doing live. It's a lot of things going
a
on
lot
there.
of going on. But I just want to just say congratulations to everybody out there that received that award yesterday, and the love that we were sharing. And see, one of the things that I've realized in the process, now, a lot of people look at me today and they say, "Yo, why do you do this?" Because I love them. I love people. I love helping people. When we was talking, you was on the Man in the Mirror,
Uh-huh.
right? Let's do the shout out to Man in the Mirror. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got to show them some love every every Thursday night, last Thursday of the month. Man in the Mirror be up in the house doing what they do, and you came in as a guest on the show of Man in the Mirror. That's how I met
Yes.
you, and you were so passionate. I saw when you sat down, that just really, really got me, how emotional you was. So can you tell me
Okay.
about that?
I was emotional because I was in a room surrounded by men who love people and that were passionate about making a difference in the community. And you were one of them, and you had other guests that were all giving to the community, and they were so humble and so sincere in helping schools and helping, just the whole community, and giving backpacks, giving money and time. That's a lot. That says a lot. You're giving yourself all the time to the community
Yeah.
and your wisdom. And I was just moved on that because the way I was brought up, again, this is part of the healing. For me to have relationships, it comes with healing myself. So I can also be in love and show others how to have love, is that I get to forgive all the hurt that's been done to me by men. Since I was 3 or 4, being molested, being raped at 14 by somebody my own age. I mean, your parents will tell you don't let a man touch you, no bad touches here, bad touches there, but you never think somebody around your age, we never talked about date rape and all those things. And then it continued to be just abused by men. And it got to the point where I felt like love meant that I do what the man says. I never knew I actually have a choice in a relationship. And I was just so angry, and I was just hurting men, and I was just so mad. And then as I'm learning now to soften up, and I'm learning so much about men and single dads, and I was around you guys, and I'm just seeing it more, and you right in the room with you. It was just amazing. And after each person spoke, I just kept crying, and I'm going to cry now because you don't see it. And women sometimes talk so bad about men. And I feel like I know we've been hurt, women, We've been hurt.
Mhm.
But you gotta open up and give men another chance, because how are you gonna fall in love if you're still angry? There are good men out there, and if you're able to see it, you will see it. I wasn't able to see it. God kept putting single fathers in front of me over and over again. And who was I? I was a single mother with children. And they were single fathers giving their heart and giving their all, just like the men in the room. But I hurt them over and over again. I was letting those men pay for all the other men that have hurt me and molested me and calling me out my name. But it wasn't the men that I was actually hurting that was doing those things to me. Not all the time. Some of them were. Some of them, to be honest, I would wait a whole year and get them. I would let it all build up until that I can just hold them like putty in my hands. Men are just as fragile and gentle as we are. They have emotions too. And they need our support from a baby. When dad tells them, don't cry, get up, tough up. They're taught to not be emotional. We as women, we come in and we love them and we give them that soft shell where they can trust us and they open up to us. We got to give them that chance. But if you're angry and mad and always complaining and always, I want to say bitching. Can I say it?
You can say it.
If you're always
Bitching.
bitching and nagging, how are you going to have that love?
A young lady was on the show, Kimmy Kim. She said she was talking about, women bitching when the man come home, always get your tennis shoes up and this and that. And she said sometimes what you gotta do is just let him come in and get unwind or whatever. But I want to go back to something. First of all, I apologize to you for the men that hurt you.
Thank you.
I apologize to you that the man that raped you. I'm not excusing him, but I apologize that I wasn't there to protect you. I apologize for anything that I've done to anybody that contribute to his actions, because an action causes a reaction. And what other men see other men do, we mimic. I remember my father beating on my mom, hitting my mom. I had no problem hitting a woman, which was wrong. A lot of men ain't gonna be fessing up. But I don't believe in that. I'm telling you. They say you can't change, that's a lie.
Right.
For every woman I ever put my hands on, I was totally wrong. I saw my father abuse my mom. And I thought that was love. And then I realized it's not. I don't want to get to crying, so you might have to hand me some Kleenex too. But what I realize is this. We have to deal with the truth, and we got to start teaching this love at a young age.
Yes.
We got to teach the boys to understand that no means no.
Yes.
I was talking to someone, and we talking about some interactions, and I told my version of it, and I didn't like what they said because it didn't make me look good. To be honest with you, I was young. I've done some things in my life that I'm not too proud of, and I'm not. That's going to be another story. I got a book that's called 504 Pain Street that's going to be finished in a few months. That I'm talking. I'm fessing up. If we don't teach love at home and teach it at a young age, they will do damage to individuals like you, and vice versa.
Right.
I had a young lady that I was in love with, who really hurt me, had me where I couldn't eat all I was eating was tuna fish and drinking Kool-Aid for about 3 months.
I told you women could do it.
Hey,
Got me messed up.
she had me where, you know,
She had an OG down.
yeah, she had me where I was struggling, and I never forget when she rolled up and she was carrying another man's baby. She made it a point that she came by and let me see it. It broke my heart. I think about a lot of the things that men do in relationships to women because we're stronger physically. But because we're not stronger mentally, we try to abuse them. But they got to understand that mental abuse is bad. We got to understand that you are somebody's daughter. You are somebody's mother, aunt, sister, cousin. I tell my sons that. In your coaching, I'm sure that's some of the things that you bring to individuals, because you coach men and women, correct?
I coach men and women. At first, I was only doing women. And then I realized the people who were coming to me were men. So not only now do I know a bunch of single dads, all of a sudden all these divorced men were coming to me that I haven't met any women that are going through the process. I met one woman and then one woman that wants to. But other than that is when men actually going through the process. And the thing is, I'm not sure how to talk to men where they will understand, because sometimes there's a disconnect with emotions, that they still go through the steps of grievance. You still grieve. You're still processing. You're like, yeah, I'm happy to get rid of that wench. You know, she took me for all my money. But when you sit down, you just grieve a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't know you're grieving. You're pushing your girlfriend away. That might be a step of grieving. Or you're going out more. Or you're staying in the house more. Or you're deciding to not date. Or you're just dating a lot. This is your process of trying to get your emotions out, but you don't know how.
And there's so many people out there. There's so many people out there that are going through divorce, going through separations, dealing with their children's father, and the mothers dealing, the men dealing with the mothers who's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs too. Mm-hmm. Because it ain't all the time it's the man fault. A lot of time it's the women fault too, who are not being responsible moms, who are here causing havoc in their children's lives and set them up. You know, one of the things that I realized was that me as a father, when I talk to my children, one of my sons said, Dad, I remember when you was coming up, I thought all you was worried about was your cars, your clothes, and the women. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, this is my son telling me this is a grown man. But I didn't realize that at a young age, that's what he saw.
Mm-hmm. That's all he understood.
That's what he understood. And here, I'm up here thinking, yo, I'm living the life I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but no, I'm not. What I'm actually doing is I'm setting a train wreck to happen for the future. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, again, when we're in situations like this, we need to love coaches. We need life coaches. We need people to talk about what's going on. We need to communicate.
And that's all about the relationships. And you brought a good point up about the children. Because and I would talk all about this as about relationships, because while you're raising your child and you're going through divorce, they're also involved.
Right.
So between when they're born up until about 8, this is where they're learning. Literally, their brain, I forgot how open it is, but it can learn any language fluently without an accent. And it can learn anything you're doing. So just like it can learn any language, it can learn sign language, it can learn music, flawless, is also learning behaviors.
Right.
And that's the root. This is the core. So between when you're born up until you're about 8 is the core of who you are. You can work on your core, but your core is who you are. I have a core that I know what it is and I can say what it is, but I have worked on it so much. But when my wall is up or my senses are down or when I'm not paying attention to myself, sometimes I can go back to my core or I feel triggered. It's because of my core of the trauma that I felt at that age. So all of that goes into the relationship, because to get into the next relationship, you get to know what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Your children and your household.
I heard.
So you can have a healthy, next relationship and be in love.
I heard one of my baby mamas said, why he couldn't been like that with me? It's a process.
It's a process.
It's a process we have to learn. Some men have to learn how to be husbands. Somehow we got to learn how to be fathers. It ain't nothing you just learn overnight. You got to learn how to be married.
Mm-hmm.
You got to learn how to love yourself. You got to learn how to respect yourself. So these things here are something that's very, very important for us to have life coaches, therapists. You being the love coach. You when you sitting down and a person telling you, I just got this divorce and I'm telling you, man, I don't want to live anymore. You'll look at them and say, yo, it's gonna get better.
It is going to get better.
It's gonna get better.
And some take shorter time than others. There's some that I was like, oh, sign on the line, and I was done. There was, the two, they were kind of short. It's just this last one had me through the ringer.
Yeah.
But can I tell you about my first love?
Yeah, go
besides
ahead.
God?
Huh.
My father. When you talk about being able to change, my dad, I'm very proud of the changes he's made. He's an old Southern man. And if you know the story, nobody's taught, like you said, how to be a mother, a father. He did not have a father. So when I'm working on forgiving people and the hurts and the childhood hurts that I went through with my father, he was very old-fashioned. Women in the kitchen kind of old-fashioned.
Right.
And I'm a rebel. And I loved my dad. So not only was I a rebel, honestly, I looked like a rebel, but I just wanted to be under my dad. So what does that look like? It looks like my dad's doing carpentry, I want to do carpentry. My dad's outside mowing the lawn, I want to mow the lawn. But it looks like I'm rebelling. And I didn't know that until later when I'm trying to heal myself and work on my relationship with my father. And I was like, okay, what does forgiveness look like? I get to know his story. He didn't have a father.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out how to be a father.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, I got to give him props. He's never left us. He's worked 2-3 jobs. He took us to make sure we knew God and took us to church. He never left my mom. Even when they talked about divorce, I was praying, please God, let them get a divorce, to be honest. Because the arguing was bad. And I was like begging. I remember I was laid under the bed and was like, they got to get a divorce. And he never left the house. My dad has never stayed out overnight. None of that. Even though he had his ways, like trying to raise us, over time, as he learned. Like he didn't know about mental health, so you didn't talk about mental health because back then you didn't talk about mental health. And he had this rule, everything in the house stays in the house. So I had nobody to talk to. And as he got older and things loosened up and he was like more, I don't know, he started just being more like relaxed, I guess. Like realizing, oh, the world is different. Okay, I should be a father like this. I need to give this a chance. Let me try this. He was open. He wasn't like trying to be a mean, horrible dad. He was doing the best he could do, and he was doing his job. He protected us. Just because it looked a different way and it hurt me, I was realizing he was doing what he had. He didn't have a father. He didn't have an example. Like, he had a father, but the father wasn't, like, in the house raising him. And he had a mother that yelled at him constantly. It's a whole story about dark skin, light skin, and a twin that looks like the mom, and he was the twin that looks like the father. And his father wasn't very nice to the mom. So the mom had to constantly look at this boy that looks like the father. The father's not in the household, but the boy is there. So there's like anger every time. Even till on her deathbed, she was still mean to him. It was horrible. So I was like, that's all he knows.
It's funny that you said that, and we talking about love. We have, for everybody to tune in, I have Miss Cristy McMillian in. She's a love coach, and she's talking about just, different ways of challenging yourself and how to channel your love in a direction to be able to be happy and to find peace within yourself. Some of the things that you have mentioned already, I've thought about myself. My father was a very, very abusive man in our household. Very abusive. Some of the stuff I'll tell you wouldn't believe that I had to endure. But I was talking to my mom last night. We was chatting about some of this stuff. And it's funny that I had to forgive my dad. I had to forgive him. You know why? Because I start to realize that he had trauma before me.
Exactly.
And so when we start to get in these situations, we got to deal with the fact. It's almost like I tell a person when I mentor to somebody, I say, look, don't laugh at a drunk, bro. Don't laugh at the drunk. You don't know why he's in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, he might be a drunk, but you might be a suicide case if you was in his shoes.
Yes.
See, so we don't understand. Don't look at a person and pass judgment on them. Give them love.
Give them love. If you really want to know, ask them what's their story.
Yeah.
That's how you can really understand people.
Love conquers all.
Yes.
Another thing, and you got me triggered, so I'm hoping I'm not talking too much. It's just some of the things that I'm thinking about.
Mhm.
We talking about love. We got the coach, Cristy Love. That's what I'm gonna call you.
Okay, I like that.
I'm gonna call it Cristy Love. We got Cristy Love in the house. She's in here talking about this, about how you want to deal with your inner love and being able to give it to somebody else.
Yes.
I always told when I'm talking to the young kids, this is what I said. So you got a dog. He's in the yard, right? And every day you walk by the yard, he's barking and barking and bark at you, right? Okay. So what you do is you get some dog biscuits. And every time you come up, you start to throw a biscuit over there. And that dog will see you, because dogs recognize you, right? Right? And you see you. He barking and barking and barking. But now when you come and you throw a dog biscuit over there, he looking and he smell you. He say, uh-oh. His barking start to tone down. What is that? That's love.
That's love.
You're starting to give the dog what he really wants.
And that's relationships.
There you go. Come on. And we got to realize it's that simple.
It really is that simple.
It's that simple. So talking about your business and everything, and all that you've been doing, how do you finance it?
Basically, I do everything. Right now, I'm just giving out my information free with love, because it's just everybody's hurting so bad and divorce is so high.
Relationships is in trouble.
Relationships are in trouble. So I just go on Facebook Live, and I just post my classes, and I just show as much as I can to help people. So I'm working, double, either 2 jobs or overtime, and putting money into my own company, which is common when you first start a company. So.
Yeah. Also, I just want to tell all the people out there that's tuning in. This is the people with Rodney Guns. My guest today is Miss Cristy Love McMillian. I'm giving her a new nickname, Cristy Love. You can call in at 703-752-6120. 703-752-6120. Call in and ask Cristy a few questions. I want y'all to know, though, it's all about you making changes in your life. Don't depend on somebody to make them for you.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad relationship, you got to get out of it. You can't expect somebody to come and pick you right up and take you out of it.
Exactly.
You got to get out of it.
You got to get out of it. And I've been in abusive relationships where I've had to leave. So I remember you were talking about women kind of going crazy, and I think the father had to have the kids.
Yeah.
So not that I went crazy, but I was in an abusive relationship, and so we had 1 weekend at mother's, 1 week at father's, and the school said it was too much on the child. My son was only in kindergarten.
Come on. All right, come on.
So my mom, I was torn, and my mom gave me the Bible story of 2 ladies fighting over a child. And they had to go before the king, and they both were saying, this is my child, and they were both fighting. And the king was like, you know what, you guys can't make up your mind, I'm going to cut the baby in half. The real mother said, no, she can have the baby. And at that moment, I was like, you know what, I don't want my child to see this arguing and everything. It's not healthy. Let him go be with his father. He's nagging me, he's bugging me, he keeps saying he wants his son. He just got married, and the hell with me. But whatever's best for him, because the school says that's what is needed. So guess what? My son is 24 and still there. Father is amazing. Do I think he did not do the things like I would do it? But my son is amazing. I can't tell a boy how to be a man. This is the whole point on why I got out of the military. So if I got out of the military because I figured like my son should be raised by a father, I can't teach my boy how to be a man. So when it's time for the father to take over, and fathers are asking to take care of their kids, why am I gonna say no? I paid my child support too on $14 an hour, $611. I did everything a man would do because that's the proper. If you're gonna ask a man to do it,
You gotta do it too.
You do it. And I still brought his school clothes and all that because I'm a mommy and that's what I want to do too. I still want to have that moment where like, oh yeah, this looks cute on you. But the father, he's still there. You got to give men a chance, and I don't know how I got on this topic, but
Well, no, it's okay. What I want to go back to is what you just said about now. We talking about real love and how we talking about different people because I was talking about even with my father, my mom, and whatever. But let me go back to something that was I thought it was amazing when you said that the two mothers was arguing over the child, right? So we talking about real love.
real love.
Right? So here we got the king up there, and he's saying, I got two women in here crying over this child. He said, I tell you what, my man, get the axe over there and come and chop him in half, and you can take half the kid with you, and you can take the other. And the mother that had the agape love is the one that said, guess what? Let her have him. If that's going to, as long as she's going to be good to him, as long as he's going to get that love instead of me seeing him suffer and have to endure that pain of being chopped in half, I will give him up. That's love.
That's love. And we were talking about escaping the violence, or were you not supposed to be? So yeah, that's that. I was in a relationship where I was like I didn't feel safe too, so I came out of that relationship. So yeah,
But-
you gotta get out if you don't feel right. It doesn't mean that you still can't work on the relationship. I'm not saying don't like give up on relationships but sometimes you have to leave the environment to give that space to grow and to figure things out. But if you're not safe or if you feel like you need the space, give yourself space, separate homes, and still continue to work on it. Get a relationship coach.
Hey.
I'll help you out.
That's right. Most definitely. You definitely getting a relationship coach is something that's good. That was another thing, the discussion I was having, because my mom, I asked her, because my father was really abusive to my mother. And I said, Mom, why did you stay? And she said, well, I didn't want my kids all over the place. But to be honest with you, sometimes when I think about it, I wish she had left. Because some of the drama that I had to deal with as a man. Not understanding that, my hands are not made to choke a woman or to hit her, but it's made to love her and caress her. I in this day and time, I think about those things, but I think about the women. And I'm going to be honest with you now. In my relationships, if the truth be told, there's two sides to every story.
Right.
Okay? Somebody want to make me this crazy maniac type guy. Guess what? I am who I am today. I'm a loving, caring man. I had issues that I needed to deal with. I didn't have a love coach. I didn't have a life coach. What I was seeing was a man who didn't have a love coach or a life coach. And his father may not had a love coach or a life coach. And so what we did, we found ourselves kind of caught up in the spider web of turmoil.
Right.
Right? And now we need to break that.
Yeah, it's a chance to make a difference. It's an opportunity. It's just another tool that you can use to just change, break the chain of how you've been growing up. If you want to do, break the chain. And my dad, actually, he's the one who broke the chain because he was open to changing.
Yeah.
I don't know how he decided to I don't know. It's just one day he was just like, oh, mental health, great, let's do it. And, he's open to different religions, different, love languages. People love people. It doesn't matter about, woman on woman, trans on trans. It doesn't, love is love. And he's a total different man than when I was like 5. And it's because I guess he was open to change. I don't know what happened, but there's always an opportunity to change. You don't have to stay where you are. If you want to change, you can get a life coach, you can pray, you can get therapy. I like coaches because, for one, I like that I'm a coach, that I'm open and transparent, because it's hard to trust somebody if they're not being open on who they are. Or you Google them and you find out all the stuff about them. But for a therapist, I always feel like they're analyzing me, or, they're pulling out the book on me sometimes. So even for counseling, I go to a social worker because they're more resourceful, they're more laid back, and even a life coach is even more laid back. And for me, I just want to listen to what's going on with you and figure out how we're going to problem solve, or not even problem solve. It's not a problem. I just want to know where you are and where do you want to go.
That's my life coach says that to me. She always asks me, what is it that I want? What is it that I'm looking for? And then when I tell her, then she gives me some steps to follow, to help me to get to that level. But most of it, I realize it starts with me, right? It starts inside of me.
Yes.
We was talking about my anger and some things that I was dealing with as an adult that came from my childhood, and I realized that I was still grasping as a little boy, trying to deal with those issues as a little boy, as a man,
Right.
which caused problems in my relationships, causes a lot of unnecessary anger. And that's what a lot of us got to realize. Go back to your childhood and talk to that child.
Talk to that child.
Talk to that child and and have that conversation, that one-on-one. You're not crazy. You go talk to that child.
That's actual real therapy. So one of the parts of therapy is they'll tell you to write notes or talk to that child and let them know that they're okay, and that now you're filling in, and that they can go, and that everything's okay, and that you're the man that's going to step up and be this, the other part.
That's what man. The
Yeah.
transition.
So-
T, jump in there if you want.
Yeah.
T over there. I think T over there trying to see. She's trying to hold back, but she's nodding her head on a few things. But
But my practice is I focus on triggers. I wasn't taught that way, so that is a way that works for some people. So that's good that that I do know that. So that's one thing we could go through if that works better for you. I do childhood hurts, which are triggers. So triggers are anything that alters your emotions. It could be happy or sad. But if it's altering you, if it's altering you, it could be anger or it can be like depression. That's what I'm saying. Because my boyfriend's always like, "Oh, you're always in your triggers," but I was like, it's real. If it makes you sad, it's a trigger. Anything that's like really bringing you off out of who you are. So let's talk about where else has that, like, let's say, I usually get mad when somebody like criticizes me. So as an adult, somebody may say, "Cristy, did you do this? I don't think you did." Or they may not like how I did it. And then I'll be like in my feelings, because they could be telling me right, but I'm like, I know what I was doing. And then I'll be like, okay, where else has this shown up in your life? Okay, this showed up last week, and when I was doing this. This showed up last year. This showed up when I was, in high school. This showed up when I was 5. Oh, wait, this showed up when I was little, and I used to make sandwiches for my dad. And he would say, you put too much, what was it, peanut butter. Yeah, he always had the peanut butter and banana sandwiches. And he's like, you're choking me, it's too much peanut butter. You never do it right. And he was always like critical of like how I fixed his food. Now this is my father that I loved, that I wanted to impress. But it became like a chore, and then it became like emotional suicide. Well, not even suicide, because I'm not the one doing it. He was doing it to me. And so that's the childhood trigger. So you go back to the root of the trigger. And then you realize, okay, you're feeling that. You're not feeling what that person's actually saying to you. So let's revisit what they're saying, and let's say, did you skip a step? Oh, wait, you might have. Oh, wait, you didn't skip a step. Okay, then you didn't. So keep going. You don't need to be upset. Just keep doing your job, and and just, be positive and keep going. Just realize where that root cause is, so you don't take that anger out on somebody else.
Right.
And then you miss the point they're trying to say, that it could, sometimes, it's something that can bless you. Because if they're pointing out something that can help you do your job better, why not? One lady came up to me and she was like, why are you typing all that one by one? She's like, why don't you just cut and paste? And it was from one computer program to the other. So I didn't even think from the computer program that we're using in healthcare that I even could copy it, because it was it was somebody's chart electronically.
Right.
And then I was doing it into a spreadsheet.
Right.
I never thought that I could just go and copy from the electronic chart and put it in the spreadsheet. Now, I could have criticized her and be like, I know what I'm doing, and no. And then I was like, oh, wait, she's saying something. Let me see what she's saying.
Right. Right. So when you was talking about triggers, when I was coming up as a child, I had quite a few Christmas that weren't good for me. And so as a grown man, I always look for reasons to not celebrate it. Claiming that I'm not giving no fat white man the opportunity to teach, have my children believing he coming down the chimney. And I had all these little things were coming up. But when I start to really dig down, and I talked to the little boy who was looking for that fat white man, and used to smile thinking about that fat white man, and that fat white man used to bring joy into that little boy's house. Sometimes I realized it wasn't really about the fat man.
Right.
What it was really about is that a lot of times around Christmas, my dad would do some things that would disrupt our home, and I was unhappy around that holiday time.
There you go.
And so I always look for reasons not to celebrate. I don't celebrate this because it's that. I don't celebrate this because, but really what it was, that every time, mostly around the holidays, my dad would do something to disrupt us and we wouldn't be happy. Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, it didn't matter. My father always did something, the police was at our house, And so as I became older, I forgot about the love of it.
Yes.
I forgot about the love of it. And it affects other people in your relationships.
I was about to go there.
Yeah. It affects the children.
It affects the children and the wife. Because the thing is, this happened to me, not the same level, but when I got married, I already had my children in the tradition. And I was like you said, the fat white man's coming down the chimney. My kids would get so excited, and then I get into this marriage, and this man, he didn't get the gift or anything. That was what he's supposed to do. The electronics, there was nothing. I sent him to CVS, the 24-hour CVS, and thank God they had, I think, like a ice scoopy thing for ice. That's what he got for Christmas. My daughter got for Christmas.
Caller, how you doing? Please tell your name and where you're calling from.
This is Rachel Polk calling from Maryland.
Hello there, Godmother Rachel.
Hello. How are you, Queen?
I'm well. How are you, Queen, my empress?
I am so blessed. I'm sitting out here live on my TikTok. I'll ask Bill, do they have any questions? Because we're listening to you guys. But I have a question for you, Queen.
Yes.
To see what advice you would give. Had a good friend of mine last week call me and tell me to give a message to my niece. Well, her niece, that you know, was very young. Now, I'm focusing on the teenagers, the young kids that's in a relationship. But this particular young man was possessive. And the young lady was one of those characters who kept everything inside. And she called her grandparents, said she was on the way to the emergency room. And when they got there, the young lady had passed, and they knew it was him. And what would your advice be to the young people out there? How to get away when they see the sign of a possessive young man at that early age for safety?
How early? Like high school or like early 20s?
We're talking about high school.
High school. First of all, you tell your parents. If there's not a parent, you tell a school counselor. You tell. Young people are good at Googling. You look for safety places that you can go. There are places that the child can go. I don't know if they have it for children, but they have it for adults. So perhaps the parents would have to take care of this, but there's safety places where they actually put, what is it called? Not a warrant, where the man has to stay a certain amount of feet away.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about restraining order.
So a restraining order goes on the man, and then the child or the family can go into hiding. So these places that I know of, though, they don't take men, they take only women. So I'm working on that. There's something I would like to do with, having more shelter places for men. But I would definitely have that child. If you are going through any abusive situation, you need to call NowMe.com. Go on there. You need to Google. I don't have that information like right now. I never thought to have it. But you need to Google places where you can go and get safety. If you feel like you're being followed or you're on your way home or you're a driver and you're 16 years old, you need to pull over at the nearest police department or fire department. And stay in your car and let them know that you are outside. You can call 911, whatever you need to do, but you need to just go to the nearest police station or firehouse and let them know that you feel like you're in danger. And talk. Do not keep this to yourself. Do not worry about what that man thinks, what that kid feels, because this is real. When my daughter was in high school, there was a child that was kidnapped by somebody her own age, her boyfriend. Or it might have been just a boy that was just was in love with her. And they kidnapped her. So it's real. This actually happens. It's not going to happen to me. And when I say tell somebody, I don't mean tell your best friend. I mean tell an adult. Because first of all, your best friend is great to just unload your feelings, but they do not have the knowledge to keep you safe.
Right. I really appreciate that answer because puzzling me. I said something has to be done. I'm familiar with, the young adults and older going to the shelter and for protection with the kids and the mother. But like you're right, what about the men? Where do they go when they're abused?
Right.
But now, where do the young people go when they're abused? It's from high school.
Yes.
In a supposed to be a serious relationship, lack of experiences in life. Even the ones that's in foster care,
That's what I hear a lot.
Right there.
That's you are very serious about the, so I work at the DC, I work at the Psychiatric Institute at Washington, DC. And they have a lot of children that are in group homes that are going through mental, situations, and they're being abused at home by the boyfriends, or they're in group homes where, people are abusing them, and they can't even have anybody accountable because the kids are scared to say something.
Yeah.
And I just want you guys to please talk up. There's one thing about me. Once I learned my voice, I talk up. I've always have. I remember I was 5 years old. And this, I'm going to tell the story. This is what happened between me and my father. And this is what broke me up from being daddy's girl. When somebody was molesting me at 4, I went back and told the school I was being molested. I didn't know how to say it, but we had an assembly. And they said, if anybody's touching your swimsuit area, let us know. So I went back and I was trying to tell them, but I didn't know how to explain it. So my parents didn't know what was going on because I never told my parents. But guess what? My dad had a "let's don't talk about it" kind of motto in the house. So as parents, if you want your child to let you know if they're not safe, you get to let them know you're available to hear them. All these things like, we don't talk about that stuff, don't talk about my boyfriend, don't talk about Uncle Raymond, that needs to stop.
Yes.
It sure do.
It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl.
Yes.
Boys are getting molested and hurt too.
Yes.
I don't care if they're 2 years old. Watch your child. Also, my brother's son. Things has happened as a baby. And because the mother was such a jerk and wouldn't let him see his child, he did not even know that the new boyfriend was hurting his child.
Yeah.
A baby.
And that, if I just want to jump in, Queen Rachel, because I talked to a lady. We was doing an interview out of the UK, and she was saying that one of the things she allowed her son to do is to talk to her openly so she can see who he is.
There you go.
So instead of putting limitations on him, he had none. She don't let him disrespect her, but she allowed him to talk so that she can see who he is. And that's where we make a lot of mistakes with the children.
Yes, and it's our job to protect them. So if they can't talk to you freely,
right,
what are they going to do? They're going to submit to the person that's hurting them because they don't know that they have a choice, that they don't know that, first of all, they don't even know that it's not right.
Well, see, I think that where we make a lot of mistakes too, and that is this. One, what we do is we make talk about sex like it's a taboo. Let me tell you something. 99.9% of every one of us is going to experience some type of sex. So you got to make it so that it's not. It's nothing wrong with you talking about it.
Nope.
Because when you're able to tell the truth, then you can say, Uncle Raymond touched me down there, and I know he ain't supposed to do that.
Exactly. My son, we had an ongoing conversation about sex since he was about 8 or 9. People were pressuring him to have sex at that age. When he told me that the people were talking about having sex and talking about body parts, we started having that conversation. It was age appropriate all the way up, and now he's 24. And we still talk about whatever we need to talk about. If it's sexual, as much as I don't want to hear my son at 24 talk about whatever, I listen because he needs somebody to talk to. And he says, Mom, you've been hurt. I want to make sure I don't do that to a woman.
Yeah.
And I made sure that that conversation started when he was little. As soon as he came to me, first of all, he knew he could come to me. And he says, Mom, I come to you. I said, go to your dad. That's a dad thing. I don't want to know about body parts, when he's little. He said, but Dad doesn't tell me the truth. You do.
And why is it such a taboo for us to talk about the body parts? You got a penis and she has a vagina. And what happens is when you understand, if you respect it and you understand what they are used for, because not all the time are they used for sex.
Right.
Yeah.
They're actually used for you to be able to get the toxins out of your body. So we got to get to a point where, let's not try to make something a taboo that can cause us to have a very traumatized life, right? So a lot of people out there, talk to your kids. Let your kids know that you can talk about these things.
Yep.
That is so true.
And to answer your questions, to make sure your child knows if they feel depressed, where they can go, what phone numbers they can call, if they feel hurt. It's one of those things now, it needs to be like you used to have, here's grandma's number in case of emergency, here's grandfather's number, here's everybody, here's the next door neighbors. It's one of those things now that has to be on the refrigerator. Or you talk about, if you feel depressed, here's the emergency number. They need to know where to go for certain things. And unfortunately, being in a violent situation now is one of them. Not only like from a boy hurting a girl, or a girl, or uncle hurting anybody, or whatever it is, but also there's the police brutality, there's profiling, there's discrimination.
Yes.
We need to protect our children and make sure that they know and have the numbers, and you as parents, that you know where to go to get help. If you're not sure, you can start with your local school.
That's right.
The counselor will help you out.
Lady Queen, I appreciate
Yeah.
you. I appreciate you so much. Also, just real quick, we had a good time on your show last night too.
And I was just telling these people here, because I had came back over to the studio, and I looked how much fun we really had. I had clothes everywhere. I said, "Ooh, this was messy over here."
Well,
I had fun last night. I
yeah.
did.
Well, actually, if I may, she's an artist and she know how to recreate herself into people. And who did you recreate yesterday?
I created the one and only my hero, Mr. Rodney Grimes.
Ah, she was you yesterday.
She did me. Yeah.
Oh my
it,
goodness.
it was
How did she do
phenomenal.
that?
I'm telling
Oh
you.
yeah, she's good.
She's good. You got to go check. You got to go. Hey, how do they go? Hey, Rachel, give them your information so that they know how to get to you.
I'm gonna type it in.
They can go to
Yeah, she's on here
facebook.com/ put my name, Rachel, RACHEL, period, POPE, period, 355, and they're all small letters. And you see my profile and request to be my friend. And you stroll down to the second post, you will see the party. I'll have a wig on my head. At first, I was throwing people off. And come in and let's play Who Am I?
And
You don't see all the activity that took place.
yeah, I mean she's phenomenal. You do the Who Am I once a month.
I do it once a month at the end of the month. I do it at 7 o'clock at Eastern Standard Time. And we have Spin the Wheel, which is $5 slot for you to build a wheel. And we give away wonderful, wonderful gifts that's given from our partners, like Blue to Top bags. I got some bags that I need to open up and see what the gifts are. We have money. We split it in half, so we give it to the lucky winner on Spin the Wheel. So somebody won $100 last night. I think that was Angela Gomez.
Yeah, Angela won that $100.
I got a big she ain't fainted.
You saw I tried to say she owed me $50 of that. I was trying to get some of that money. But hey, lady Queen Rachel, I thank you so much, sweetie, and we appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much.
Hey, I love you guys. Hey, we got 1.7 likes tonight on TikTok.
Oh,
Listening to the show.
I tell you, thank you so much. We love you,
God
darling.
is good.
God bless.
Peace.
So,
That's good. I
so
like the
let me
comments
tell
come
you,
in.
this is amazing. But as we winding down, because I don't want to, I want to hear a little more, because it's going to be your time
Okay.
to really talk about some more things. But just talking about that she said about children. What is it for people that's real young in a relationship? How would you go about helping them?
I guess my last point was good. If you're a parent and you really don't know where to go, always start at the school. Start with the school counselor and let them know what your child is going through. And then they'll be able to guide you to phone numbers, and they'll have local things to do that can help you. They have the therapy that can help your child. They'll guide you to where maybe else you should take your child to talk about some things. And they'll have phone numbers because they're set up for that. And not only that, sometimes when the child is going through those situations, there's behavior issues. So they'll also give your child, at least Fairfax County, I've experienced it personally. Was it with my child? Yeah, in elementary school. So they'll give them like a card, like say you'll have a pink card or a blue card, and you could put it on your desk. They're like different things you can do where you know your child needs to go out the room, to decompress. Or maybe they're starting to get emotional thinking about things at home. Or maybe somebody is bullying them. So once you let the counselor know what's going on, they're able to work with you and get a program and work something out with your child.
When I was in high school, my father was doing trauma in our house. My father was very physical. not sexually, but he was whooping us and cussing and mentally disrupting our sleep at night and things of that nature. And a lot of people didn't know that in the school. And so I was acting out in school. And I remember one time I was sitting on the step in high school, and I was so sleepy because we had been up all night fighting my dad. And so I didn't get the proper sleep. So I was sitting on it, and I had kind of nodded out. And the vice principal, his name at the time, Mr. Peoples, saw me. And he took me to the guidance office and told him that I was on drugs. But he didn't know that I was up all night. And so I said that to say that sometimes, with kids, you got to give them that opportunity to talk. Yes. Don't automatically come and beat them down and let them know that you got an open ear and you want to hear, what's going on. I really love that you are a love coach. I call you Cristy Love, so you can already know anytime I address you, that's your name from People to People. I want you to also know that you are part of the People to People family, and that you are welcome to come and talk about these things, because if that's what you're doing is helping people, guess what? I'm with you.
Thank you.
That's for sure. Again, I'm gonna steal a couple of her minutes. Look, I'm trying to tell you, I gotta put it back up there again. I just want to thank Dr. Teensy Lynch, for giving me and my wife the opportunity to be blessed. I try to tell you, this is a Lifetime Achievement Award that we received. I'm trying to tell you, you do not know what that's done for me, to realize that, my work is not going in vain. It's just, I'm so proud, and when I showed my wife this last night, because she wasn't able to receive hers, she just started tearing up and she was getting emotional. And I told my wife, I looked at my wife and I said, congratulations. But you are going to get things like that too. And it may not be in a plaque, or it may not be with a medal around your neck. It's going to be through love. It's going to be through blessings because of what you're doing, you being a life coach. Thank you for doing that. You can talk. We still got a couple of minutes, so it's your time to talk about whatever you want to talk about and whatever message you want to get out.
I want to say thank you for letting me be part of the community. And I'm a life coach for love. It also starts with yourself, but there's relationships in everything we do, and I'm here for you. I don't send you out by yourself and say, here, do this. We go through it together, because I'm a support system. I love that what you said is you did the work. When you're a life coach, there was one part you were saying that when you were younger, you were this way, but now you're this way. Mm-hmm. You did the work to transition.
Yes.
We're going to do the work together, because we're a team. That's McMillian Soul Source. We're a family. And you can come on my website. It's McMillian, McMillian, soulsource.com. And there we can schedule a free consultation. It'll take about 15 minutes, and we'll find out what kind of program we can put together for you. It'll be around 8 weeks program. It'll be shorter or longer depending on what you need, but I try to stay under 3 months, and we're going to get you to your love that you want.
How about that? Love is something that's free. It don't cost nothing to love anybody. And it's what we got to do as individuals. We got to learn how to get that love unconditionally. We talked about that agape love.
That agape love, and that's what God told me. His
Yeah.
message was to me is to pour my love all over the earth, and that's what I want to do.
I commend you. I thank you so much. I love what you're doing in the community as well, because a lot of people don't know, we just take this time out because we care about people. We don't get paid. What we do is we receive our blessings from the Lord. Right. And for many people out there, you got to understand, I don't care whether you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, or wherever. Look, it's for us. We collectively come together. We come and help each other. Get that information out there. Let's don't all the time be out there shaking our butts and all that type stuff. let's get that love and share that love. I'm not saying don't have some fun, but I'm saying we in a very crucial time right now.
You really are.
We're in a very crucial time, and love is what we need. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Not just for some, but for everyone. How about that?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm trying to tell you. It's People to People with Rodney Grimes. My guest today, Miss Cristy Love McMillian. Yeah, I gave her that name. So when we talk about it, no, Miss Cristy McMillian is a love coach. I thank you so much for coming in. You are a part of the PTP family.
Thank
PTP
you.
for life. People look out for her. She's going to be coming. She's going to be doing some programs. We talked about that. We're going to be working on it. And I want you to know that God is loving you for what you're doing. PTP. So, good show. Yeah. So, you see, this is